Welcome to another episode of Goosebumps Podcast Can Be Murder. I'm your main host, Bumps of the Night. Today I'm joined with my co-hosts, The Grinch and WaffleFan42. And today we're going to be tackling Stay in the Basement.
This book is about two kids who have to stay with their dad because their mom is off with like a funeral. And their father starts acting weird. He stays in the basement a lot of the time. And he starts acting a little bit more weirder. And then he like tries to feed them like mush. Yeah. And there's one rule in his house. Stay out of the basement.
You know what's funny though? Pretty much on the nose there. The only difference was the mom wasn't out for a funeral. So the mom had a sister who was sick and she was staying with that sick sister who was getting ready for surgery.
Yeah. One night, the daughter goes to see what's going on, and she sees her father bending over the sink, take off his hat, and it turns out he had like a leash on his head, and he has like a cut on his arm that's green blood instead of regular red.
Yeah, it was, and that was done so well in the show. Waffle, have you read this book before?
Watched and read.
Okay, perfect. So before we get too deep into this, does everybody want to guess how many times they say "stay out of the basement" in the book?
You go first, Waffle.
5.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Grinch?
I'm guessing about like 12, considering this is like a very long, not a very long book, but a long book.
You would actually be shocked to know it's only 2 times.
Wow.
Yeah, well,
2 times.
so I actually read this one recently, so, I mean, I'm sure you follow my channel, you know I do like this series called Goosebumps Beyond, so when I write a sequel to a book, which the next one I just finished, I'm actually going to re-record here, is Keep Out of the Attic, which is a sequel to Stay Out of the Basement. I had to read the book a couple times just to make sure all my like details and facts are right, so yeah, I counted the second time I read the book, and they only say it twice. The brother's name is Casey, the sister's name is Margaret, they're the Brewer family, and the doctor, their father, they kept this from the episode, was fired for essentially trying to build an animal-human-plant hybrid, which I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it's more of a human-plant hybrid because we see later on that he has a copy of himself that's trying to take over the family.
It gave me, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie, but very The Fly vibes from the movie. Splicing DNA and all that stuff.
Yeah, actually, fun fact, in the Goosebumps game, one of the rooms is the plant place, and we see Dr. Brewer again, and it turns out he turned his daughter into a plant, which we never see the son. I don't know what happened to him, but we know that his daughter is turned into a plant later on. Yeah, if you ever played the part in the game where you had to go for a garden, and you see Dr. Brewer, yeah, so he basically screwed up again.
You know what's crazy? So I didn't get very far into the game. I have it. I tried playing it, but it was one of those point-and-click adventures, and I got bored pretty quick. But I did not know that was in the game. Did you know about that, Waffle Fan?
Yeah.
Have you played it?
Sure. Or no, I watched the gameplay.
Oh, you watched the playthrough? Okay. We'll give Waffle a chance to talk here. Tell us a bit about what you thought about this book. What kind of stood out to you? You know, did you like it? Did you hate it?
Well, the fact that a dog didn't die means it's better than the original. I'm sorry for spoilers.
No, that's great. That's what we're here for. We're talking about them spoilers.
Wait, actually, did they end up killing animals to put into the plants, or did they just use their DNA?
So, I think it was just DNA samples.
As far as I remember. Yeah, as far as I remember, DNA, not actual things.
Yeah, I don't think any animals died in the making of this. Not like in Dead House, where they straight up murdered Petey.
Or Petey. Yeah, it was a good book, I'd say.
Yeah. All right. So, Grinch, this book came out, like, what year it was published?
I probably had to look it up, but if I remember correctly, I think it was in the same year as the first book, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, this was another 92 book, so the first book came out in, I think, spring, if not, like, late winter. This one came out in the summer.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, yeah. July 1992.
Yep. At this point in time with the Goosebumps series, it wasn't a series, it was just a series of books, if you will. They were not connected yet. We did not have the running established series.
Also, I just learned it now, but there's a movie called Stay Out of the Basement.
Huh. Any correlation?
It's not, like, based off the book. It's just, like, it has the same name as the book.
Gotcha. It would have been a solid movie.
Political.
Yeah, I think it was just the first book they were doing for the movie.
But this would have been a solid movie regardless. Like, if George Romero was supposed to actually do the first movie.
Yeah, let's see.
And I think Tim Burton was supposed to write a script too, but that didn't happen either. This is the first book in the series did not have Jacobus illustrate the cover. That classic green hand coming out of the basement was not Jacobus. There's only 2 books in the original series he didn't illustrate, this being one of them, the other one being Be Careful What You Wish For.
Actually, fun fact about that, later on in the reprint, I think he did the reprint version of this book.
He did. That was where, like, the plant scientist was, like, branching out all over the cover.
I wish that happened in the story. That seemed cool.
There was a lot of stuff I thought was interesting, actually. Not that I'm disappointed whatsoever, and I'm assuming that the hand on the cover was supposed to represent, like, Dr. Brewer as a plant hybrid. We don't ever really see a full, like, plant monster like I'm expecting to see from the book what the cover teases. That's kind of the direction I went with my story, because I thought that would have been neat, but we don't really see that here. I mean, the plants are the people.
Oh, actually, fun fact, I was reading this part, page 75, he says, I just want you to try this, he said, his smile faded. You are my guinea pigs. Who has some things to ask you, Margaret said. Your mother called this morning, their father said. When? Margaret asked eagerly. Just a short while ago. I guess we were outside and they hear the phone ring. What did she say, Cassidy asked, staring down at the bowl in front of him. Aunt Eleanor, doing better. She moved out of the instant care. Your mother might be able to come home soon. I think that's where it started clicking in my head that he was not himself when he said, you're my guinea pigs.
Yeah, I mean, green food in general. I'm sure you guys growing up had to eat a couple questionable meals. That's just part of life. But your parents ever tried to serve you a green bowl of mush and tell you it was food?
No, definitely no.
Yeah.
One time I got broccoli pancakes for April Fools.
Oh, that's terrible. I mean, those 2 things on their own are okay, but that's funny.
Also, listen to the the part where he said Margaret saw that his hand was cut, freshly banded. So that's definitely, you could tell that's something happening with him if he had freshly bandaged.
So was that before or after the struggle with that professor or doctor who would come over to see him, the one that he took downstairs?
It's after he says your mom may be able to come home soon. It says, great, Margaret and Cassie cried in unison. Eat, Dr. Brewer insisted, pointing to the bowls. Are you still gonna have some? Cassie asked, rolling a spoon in his fingers. No, their father replied quickly. I already ate. With both hands against the tabletop, Margaret saw that his hand was cut, freshly bandaged. So
Okay.
This is definitely before he knocked out.
So let's talk about this. When do we think the plant took over Dr. Brewer's personality in life? Like, what point in the story do you think it had happened? Because there was never a definitive point where we knew they had switched places.
If I had to guess, it probably went downstairs in the basement after the mother left.
So, like, that after that first trip, then.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Waffle? When do you think the plant copy took Brewer's place?
I don't know, like sometime in between the incident where he got fired and when he started acting weird at home, sometime in between.
Okay,
that.
see, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it actually happened before the book started, and we were just kind of getting that preview of, because things are weird, because before he leaves, Margaret complains to the mom about him being weird, so I was like, okay, it must have happened off-screen, which isn't bad, but sets a good premises here. I think the most iconic scene in this book is the cut hand.
Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out when we see the whole who's my real dad thing.
That's towards the end.
Sorry.
Also, that was a lot more dark in the book than it was in the show.
It is, says, he's not our real father, Cassie said. I told you we shall untie him. He is our real father, Margaret insisted. I know he is. She turned the eyes to her father, looking for an answer, but he stared back at him, his face full with confusion and menace. The accent.
So here's a question. I'm going to ask Waffle this first. Waffle, do you think, because they had both kind of shared DNA, if Margaret had sprayed the wrong dad, would he have melted like the plant dad?
It wouldn't have killed him. I think it would have just weakened him.
I always wondered, it's like, what if she had made the wrong choice? You know, what would have happened? All right, Grinch, same question. What do you think would have happened if Margaret sprayed the wrong dad?
Then, just like in the music Thriller, he's probably gonna be like, like he actually tricks her, and when she brings the wrong dad, he's gonna be like, oh, thank you for saving me. And then when they're walking out the steps, he looks back at nobody and
yellow
had
eyes.
a little smile, like.
That'd be an interesting twist.
Here, for your question, I was thinking the movie, not the book. I'm sorry. Yeah, same what Grinch said.
I think that the Goosebumps series kind of lightened up as it went, but this being the second book, it was really dark, and I like that. I mean, the possible threat of death was very real there, and the kids didn't know if they were going to make it out of there. Just, you could feel like there was grit to it, and I like that.
Also, this kind of reminds me of like Alien / the Body Snatchers.
Overall, though, it was a short book. It was longer than Dead House, but again, this is something you could sit down and knock out in a 2-hour, 3-hour period here if you just went nonstop. Short chapters with all these funny little cliffhangers. Overall, the theme's really simplistic.
Like, maybe he was wanting to go like a Frankenstein approach for, like, don't control, like, nature.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you think about it, because we mess with nature here, man was the real monster. Let's talk about one thing maybe we didn't like about the book, starting with Waffle. What's something you thought could have been improved on, or maybe you just didn't enjoy?
Oh, well, that's a key question. It's a good book. Maybe explain better why the mom had to leave. Just, oh, my sister is having unexplained doctor thing. And just more reasoning.
I see what you mean. Very plot convenient, you know. It's like, oh, there goes mom, bye. Exit stage left. All right, Grinch, maybe what's one thing you didn't like about this, or one thing you feel like they could have improved on in this book?
Probably the ending, if I'm being completely honest. I love the twist, don't get me wrong, it's interesting. But having the flower be like, no, I'm the dad, no, I'm the dad, no, I'm the real dad. Like, how many planned copies did he make? Like, seriously, like, we saw one literally tried to kill him not so long ago.
I personally think the ending should have gone like this, and I don't think this is how it had to be, but I think it would have been an ending if, instead of the flowers talking to Margaret, maybe she approaches her and the dad walk something to a truck or something. It's just her and her alone, her and the dad alone. As they're moving something or he's lifting something, he gets pricked on his finger, and he goes ow, and like makes it audible like he's in pain, and she looks over at his hand and she can see that the hand is dripping green blood, and he puts it in his mouth real quick, like to suck the blood away. The rest of the family comes around like, what's wrong? And Margaret looked at him and like she knows that he's not real, but everyone else doesn't. And he's like, nothing's wrong, right, Margaret? And she's like, yeah. And she has to live knowing that she made the wrong decision. I think that would have been a really good twist.
Well,
Maybe too dark.
This is made for preteens, that would be a definite no-no.
Yeah, it's probably too dark, but that's how I'd like to see it end.
You ever say that darker than PD death?
True. I mean, they did straight up. Not only did they kill that dog, they left his ass after they killed him. We were laughing about that last time, too. Book had a good twist. If we were going to rate this book, starting with The Grinch, what would you rate it? Scale of 1 to 10.
If I'm being honest, I'll definitely rate it above Welcome to the Dead House because it has at least a more happier ending in a way. So maybe like a 8 out of 10.
Waffle, if you were going to rate it between scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
Ooh, I'd say a 9 out of 10.
I also think it was a pretty good book. I'm actually going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Put that together, divide it by 3, we get 8.1. We're going to round it down. That's an 8 out of 10 group rating. So yeah, B+. I think that book is exactly where it should be. It's not a damn near perfect book, but it's a good book nonetheless. Definitely worth a read. Grinch, when would you recommend reading this book? What time of year?
If I'm being completely honest, definitely during around maybe like Halloween or maybe even the Day of the Dead, maybe, because I can see like the plant monster coming back to life somehow.
What about you, Waffle? When do you think the best time of year to read this book is?
I'd say spring, because spring is known for plants, and
that makes
there aren't
sense.
really many spooky stuff in spring, so.
Yeah, spring, summer. I agree with you there. If we're going to talk about hypothetical sequels, let's start with The Grinch. How do you think they can make a sequel to Stay Out of the Basement? A Stay Out of the Basement 2, if you will.
Maybe like start from where the ending took off, where with the whole plan talking thing, and be like, Dad, just like run up the stairs, and her dad's like, wait, what's wrong? She's like, there's more versions of you, and he's like, oh poop, I knew I should have removed those. She's like worried, and her dad's like, hey, everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna remove them so you don't have to worry about them, okay? The only problem with the sequel is that they already destroyed the monster from the last book. So they either have the flower that's the villain, like they grow up to be like eviler version of the dad.
Yeah.
Or they have to have like, I don't know, like an evil company that wants to buy his like idea for making human copies.
Yeah. Waffle, if you were gonna suggest a sequel to this book, how do you think that sequel should go?
Yeah, I'd combine some of the ideas of the Grinch, or like a evil separate company, and also the backyard plants.
Mm-hmm.
But at the ending of the original book, they said they took all of the safe plants and put them in the backyard, so maybe a different plant became evil as well by trying to steal the dad's secrets.
I could see that.
Yeah.
This is different than the sequel I already wrote, but what about this? For instead of a full sequel, we get a short story in one of the Tales books, and it's the Brewer's family house at Christmas. And the dad's playing around, in his new home, or even it could be the same home, but he's playing around with experiments, and next thing you know, he brings the Christmas tree to life. And so their whole thing is trying to get the tree back and stopping the tree from making more plants come to life before Christmas hits. I think that'd be a fun little short story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the idea of a sentient Christmas tree sounds cool to me, but it doesn't really match the original theme, really, I don't think.
What if it ate children? Then it's Goosebumps level scary.
If they actually made like a movie of Day of the Basement, I think this sounds my top of my mind, but I feel like the person who could play Dr. Brewer is that guy from Jurassic Park, the one that wears black, the one's like
Jeff Goldblum?
I can see him playing that. Yeah. Like he did in Cats and Dogs in a way. Kind of like that in a way. Instead of like evil cats and dogs, it's just like him and his family. And like he turns like crazy, but then he gets taken over by a plant copy.
Jeff Goldblum is like a really funny guy, but the dad in the story, he's really just dark and secretive. I don't think that'd really work.
Well,
Jesse Eisenberg.
That's true, but... Oh yeah. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that more.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an idea. Like Jesse Eisenberg as the dad, Jeff Goldblum as like the scientist that gets kidnapped because
Dr. Martinez.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just I can see like Goldblum playing like a smaller role in the story.
All right, so let's go with closing thoughts on the book, starting with Waffle.
Well, overall, good book. I guess the ending is a little weird, but yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah, it's the only time we have one of those, like, pick somebody. If you don't pick somebody, we'll both die. Because plant apocalypse. All right, Grinch, what did you think? Closing thoughts on the book.
I have to say, it did a little bit better than the first book, at least. At least there's no dog killed or animals killed. So that's definitely a plus in my book.
Stein did have a flair for animal cruelty in his books. Yeah, overall, it wasn't what I was expecting when I first read it, but, I think the TV adaptation was very faithful to it, and I think it actually did a few things better. Like, the gross out with the food was awesome, and I mean, that cut scene where the dad's got the cut wrist and he's bleeding green, that's iconic. Like, you think Goosebumps from the 90s, that's one of the first things you think besides Haunted Mask.
True.
Green in general.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Goosebumps is literally just slime, so that's the whole premises.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Grinch, aren't you green?
Ho ho!
I mean, yeah, I'm green, but I'm not that crazy person. I mean, it's still Christmas, but I'm not that crazy.
You're a Goosebumps monster waiting to happen.
It's just, I think that's how they were able to get away with the cut wrist part, because if it was red, they definitely have to change it to like M or even PG-13 or.
Yeah, I feel you there. You guys have anything left to say? Maybe want to put your YouTubes out there for a promo or anything before we close out this podcast?
Okay, thank you. So, yeah, Waffle Fan 42, I'm me.
I'll plug your YouTube on here, don't worry. All right, Grinch, any closing?
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yes.
Hit that notification bell.
Ring the bell or else I'm going to have to shave a puppy.
What?
You heard me.
Come back or I'll kill Petey.
Christmas.
If you don't ring the bell, I'm going to make sure the Grinch doesn't get to steal Christmas. How about that?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. So, Grinch, you want to plug your channel and then we'll close out?
Yeah, actually, fun fact, my channel is called Plankton and Slappy Channel since, yeah. And I do have a playlist of all my Goosebump related videos.
All right.
Yeah,
I've
been doing this for a while now.
Well, thank you guys for watching this episode of Goosebumps Podcast Can Be Murder. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with these. As we part on one of these episodes, feel free to hit us up. We'll let you join the Discord. With that being said, We'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.